Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Kirsten van Heerden. I'm a sports psychologist in Durban, but actually where it all started was back in Pietermaritzburg. I grew up in Maritzburg and actually went to girls' high myself, so I'm an old girl. So I'm really looking forward to making this short video series for you on really how to manage during uncertain times, or how to have mental toughness during uncertain times. And these really are incredibly uncertain times that we're in, and just unprecedented difficult times. And almost all the athletes that I work with are really battling for one reason or another. It could be they finding themselves irritable or frustrated or not motivated, worried about the future. And there's no one best way to cope with this situation, because none of us have really been able to have ever experienced a situation like this before. But there's certainly some things that you can do to help manage some of the emotions, manage some of the thoughts, and be able to get through in the best way possible. And a good place to start, I think, is by saying up front that I'm not just someone that says, hey, think positively. I don't think that always works. I want to be able to give you some skills, rather, that you can use to manage how you're feeling. And on just being positive, this fascinates me when at the beginning of lockdown you would see on social media, on Instagram, so many people were super positive, super motivated, all these living room challenges going around, and everyone was like, no, this is good, we've got this. Even those Olympic athletes where the Olympic Games got postponed, were like, no, this is fine, I understand, it's for the common good. And then interestingly, over lockdown, over the period, you can see that sort of motivation declining and the positivity declining. And now there's hardly any challenges being thrown around or motivational videos. And I think what's happened is that the reality of the situation has really set in for a lot of people. And the reality of what life is going to look like or not look like going forward. And so rather than simply just being positive, we want to be optimistic. And let me explain with a story. Some of you might know the story before. It's called the Stockdale Paradox. What it is, there was an Admiral James Stockdale during the Vietnam War. He and his men, US men, were captured and put into the prisoner of war camps in Vietnam. And he was a bit of an amateur psychologist himself, so he wanted to see how people managed in these camps. How did they fare? And they were there for probably about 7 years, so he had lots of time to observe. And interestingly, he found those people that were the most positive actually tended to fare pretty badly in these camps, and were often the people that would die first. And he kind of wondered what that was about. And over time, what he realized is that the super positive people tended to ignore the reality of the situation. They would often go, this is fine, this is not a problem, we're definitely going to be out by Christmas time, or we'll definitely be out by Easter time. And then of course, when that didn't happen, they would lose hope very quickly. And we know when you lose hope, it's a real problem for people. The people that did the best in these camps were always those that first acknowledged the reality. He said, you have to face the brutal facts of your situation. And so they acknowledged and were like, this is actually really bad. And we don't know what's going to happen, how long we're going to be here for. But then they went a step further. They didn't just get stuck there. They're like, we don't know, and this is not great, but I've no doubt we will get through. In his words, I've no doubt we will prevail. And so that's the kind of attitude that we want, of acknowledging the reality of the situation. So many of you, this might be your last year at school, where you've now lost your last season to be able to play for the school. For those matrics, there might be things in matric that you wanted to do that now you can't do. Goals have been lost, dreams have been lost. It's incredibly difficult. So we have to always acknowledge that, not just pretend that it's fine. But then the next step is going, but I have no doubt we will be able to get through this situation. But in order to do that, James Stockdale and his men, there were certain things that they had to do to keep getting through. And that's really what we're going to be talking about over the next couple of videos. What are those things that help you to get through during these tough times? So just to recap, we don't want to just pretend everything is okay. It really is okay not to be okay during this time. Many people are not okay during this time. We have to acknowledge that, but then we have to go a step further and go, okay, no doubt I will be able to get through if I keep doing these certain things.